Hello and welcome to our lesson on solving systems of equations. We'll work with 2 and 3 variable systems. Our goal is to solve the systems using substitution and elimination. We'll start with just 2 variables in substitution. We're going to identify one of the variables to solve for. In this case, we'll be solving for the y since it's done. And then solve for the other variable after we've substituted in what y equals. We'll have an equation with x. And then that that equation can be solved so that we get x equals a number. Plug that into our original equation in step 1, and we'll have our solution. So if we substitute in for y, we get 2x minus 3 parentheses what y equals negative 1. In this case, 2x minus 3x plus 3 equals negative 1. And that turns into negative x equals, we'll subtract the 3 over, negative 4, x equals 4, and we can take that value and plug it into this equation. If we plug in the 4 there, 4 minus 1 is 3. Alright. Why don't you try this next one? Alright, we'll plug in 3x minus 2 parentheses 5x minus 7 equals negative 12. We get negative 3x minus 10x plus 14, and that produces a negative 13x equals negative 26, and x will equal a positive 2 here when we divide. Plugging that in up here, we get 10 minus 7, y equals 3. Our solution, 2, 3. Now as we go through and solve these problems, we're going to have one of 3 options. One solution, which we just saw. It's possible to have no solution to a system. This is called an inconsistent system, or have infinitely many solutions that would be dependent. So in this case, if we look at this first example, we see that y equals x minus 7. If we plug in for y, we get x minus 7 equals 7. And that's x minus x plus 7 equals 7. 7 equals 7. Well, this doesn't tell us a whole lot. We don't know what x and y are explicitly, but it turns out they can be anything. And basically, what we have here is infinitely many solutions. You have a dependent system here. If you look closely, you'll notice that these are just the same equation written in different forms. If I wanted to solve this equation for, solve the bottom equation for y, you could subtract the x and multiply by negative 1. You'd get y equals x minus 7. So they're the same equation. In this case, we'd get x minus x equals 5 if we substitute, and that is 0 equals 5. This is not a true statement, and we would have no solution. These are parallel lines, and they never cross, never have a solution. And then finally, if we come here, y equals x, x plus x equals 2. Do the math on that, you get x equals 1. Plug in for y and for x, and you get 1. So just like the problem we did before. These are the 3 options we'll expect to get. Now we look at elimination. In this case, we're going to identify a variable to eliminate, multiply one or both equations to get equal and opposite coefficients on one of the variables. When we add, we eliminate that variable, solve for the other one, get a number, and then substitute that numeric value to find the remaining variable. So let's go and practice here. If we look at these 2 equations, if we multiply the top equation by top equation by negative 3, distribute in, we get 3x minus 3y equals negative 9. When we add, those cancel, those, in this case we get 0 equals negative 5. There is no solution. Once you try this one, figure out a variable to solve for, and then multiply. Often I choose the equation that has a coefficient of 1 as for one of its variables. Okay, so if you've tried on this one, you can multiply the top equation by negative 2. We get negative 14x minus 2y equals, and remember to multiply the constant on the right, positive 42. Adding, we get negative 16x. The y's cancel, equals 64. And 16 times 4 is 64. So x equals negative 4. Plugging that into either equation, we get, and I'll choose the bottom equation since the numbers are smaller, I'll get negative 2 times negative 4 plus 2y equals 22. That's positive 8. Subtract that over. 2y equals 14. And so y equals 7. And if we were to try to plug those in, we'd get 7 times negative 4, negative 28, plus 7 is negative 21, or in the bottom, 8 plus 14 is 22.